What's up, gamers? DreamcastGuy here, and today we're talking about Assassin's Creed Shadows because this is definitely by far the most hated and most controversial game in all of 2024, and it's not even out yet. I mean, the trailers for it have hundreds of thousands of dislikes, people are talking about boycotts, and now the developers of it over at Ubisoft have just posted an official apology to the country of Japan, and I want to take a look at it because, to be honest, this entire mess seems so baffling, at least to me. Hi, hope you're having a great day. If you could please give this video a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Now, this is a very, very long apology, and I think a lot of this anger, I think a lot of the people that are directly pissed off about Assassin's Creed Shadows I think a lot of the hate comes from the fact that we have been wanting a Assassin's Creed game set in Japan for decades at this point. I think it's by far the most requested because Assassin's Creed has gone to so many different genres, so many different territories. We've seen it in so many different countries and take so many different forms. I mean, it is interesting that we're finally getting it in Japan, but people are annoyed as to how it's being done. A big sticking point seems to be the main character. There are two main characters, a little ninja named Naomi, and then a huge black samurai named Yasuke. Now, the black swordsman is something that people kind of debate the historical accuracy of. Some people say, okay, well, there are some historical notes that he worked for Nobunaga, who was a big warlord, but doesn't talk about him serving in any battles. It doesn't talk about him actually killing people or anything like that, or being trained to be an official samurai. Basically, people say he was definitely paid, he was definitely given a house, he was given a sword. But, that doesn't really know if that means he's actually a straight up samurai. So a lot of people seem to be annoyed, specifically in Japan, about the idea of Yasuke, a person that was real, but people are basically saying, is this the story we want to tell with the first Assassin's Creed set in Japan? At least that's what it seems like a lot of the conversation is about. Apparently, a lot of people are saying the Japanese government is now apparently looking into it. There are tweets from the Japanese government itself, which is called Diet. They're looking into it about whether this game is actually, offensive or crossing lines or straight up disrespectful. There's been petitions to cancel the game, which, let's be clear, this was never going to work. They've already spent hundreds of millions of dollars on it. They're not going to scrap it. But now that we know that context, let's take a look at the statement itself. This is one of four. They've posted it in English and also in Japanese. To our esteemed Japanese community, a message from the Assassin's Creed Shadows development team. First, we want to express our heartfelt thanks for all your support for the series, which has been spanning almost 20 years, blah, 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 blah. For many of our team, creating an Assassin's Creed is set in feudal Japan has been a long-cherished dream. Since the announcement of Assassin's Creed Shadows, we've received many positive reactions, but also some criticism, including from you, our Japanese players. We share your passion for history and deeply respect your care for the historical and cultural integrity of your rich heritage. We'd like to address a few points to clarify our intentions and creative decisions. Overall authenticity efforts. We've put a significant amount of effort into ensuring an immersive and respectful representation of feudal Japan. However, our intention has never been to present any of Assassin's Creed games, including Assassin's Creed Shadows, as factual representations of history or historical characters. Instead, we aim to spark curiosity and encourage players to explore and learn more about the historical setting we get inspired by. Now, this is definitely true. If you've played any previous Assassin's Creeds, they got stuff like King George Washington, they've got aliens, literally, they've got all sorts of magical relics that let you mind control people or teleport and stuff like that. So the goal has definitely been like, all right, does this interpretation of Leonardo da Vinci's flying machine actually inspire you? Okay, well then Google it and you can see what it actually looked like. So in this case, I think they always find themselves in a hard spot where when you are creating historical fiction, if you're trying to make a story with actual people that really existed, it is a difficult thing of, okay, how much do we change? Because if you actually go for 100% authenticity, history is incredibly boring. I mean, I've read a lot of history books. I'm sure you guys have read a lot of history books. I mean, hell, pockets were invented like 150 years ago. So if you go for too much accuracy, any story sucks because a lot of it's just people sitting around smelling incredibly bad. So the fact that they're basically saying, okay, we have to change some stuff or else this wouldn't be interesting. But I think it's interesting that they're basically straight up saying, yeah, even if Yasuke wasn't actually a samurai, we want to make him a samurai, and we thought that would be better received. I'm kind of taking that as what they're trying to say here. Assassin's Creed, first and foremost, is designed to be an entertaining video game that tells a compelling historical fiction set in feudal Japan. Our team extensively collaborated with external consultants, historians, researchers, and internal teams at Ubisoft Japan to inform our creative choices. Despite these sustained efforts, we acknowledge that some elements in our promotional materials have caused concern with the Japanese community. For this, we sincerely apologize. Yeah, one of the main complaints I've seen from a lot of different people across the internet, and it's something, I'll be honest, I did not notice. Just let me put my position out here. I am planning on buying Assassin's Creed Shadows. I am planning on reviewing Assassin's Creed Shadows, and I am definitely excited for Assassin's Creed Shadows. But I understand that, honestly, if anything, criticism improves the product. If people want to voice, hey, I was going to buy it, but this looks weird. Hey, these microtransactions are annoying. Or, hey, why is there a battle pass in a single player game? Whatever. My point is, I always think criticism is totally fine. And it sounds like one of the complaints people have been saying the most, which to be honest just completely shocked me, was in the trailer, there was a clip where at one point Yasuke is killing a bunch of soldiers in a row and it's playing what people consider to be a hip hop beat. It's a more modern rendition of music and they're basically going, okay, this feels a bit disrespectful to watch like this huge dude just absolutely slaughtering random soldiers who can't get hit by his like gigantic, huge weapons and stuff like that with hip hop. It sounds like stuff like that is something that some people in the Japanese community have really kind of laser focused on. Personally, I mean, there's all sorts of cool or sometimes goofy music in trailers. To me, I don't know. That's something I definitely didn't stick on. I think recently they released like a Gladiator trailer and people got a bit mad about the music in that too. To me, I'll be honest, I didn't even notice that, but people did seem to really focus on that. I think that this is them actually signaling that. I think they're basically going, okay, we will go for more authenticity. All game footage presented so far is in development and the game will launch. Will keep evolving until launch. Based on the constructive criticism we have received, we will continue our efforts until we put this game into your hands and beyond. We also want to clarify that while we have been consulting with many people throughout the development process, they are in no way responsible for the decisions that are taken by the creative teams. Okay, so there have been rumors that there are like external groups that force companies to make stuff more diverse and stuff like that. This is like a big rumor, is the fact that there's like groups that come in and say, hey, we want you to add this or change that to make it more sellable in America or whatever like that. They're essentially saying, look, this is the exact game we wanted. If you're mad at anybody, be mad at us. So I think it's interesting how this statement is. It's definitely got some spin in it. They're definitely trying to focus like, hey, let's still talk about the game. Let's talk about what can be fixed in the game. This makes me think, to be honest, that the pre-order numbers have been incredibly bad. I felt like a lot of people were drumming up excitement for it. A lot of people were excited for an Assassin's Creed in Japan. But I think it's interesting that it sounds like the game must be absolutely bombing in pre-order numbers, and they're kind of panicking because a statement like this, in my opinion, does kind of stink of desperation. Basically saying, hey, please, please, please do not let this game bomb. We need this to be a big success. Consequently, we respectfully request that any criticisms not be directed at our collaborators, both internal and external. Yeah, I have seen some people are kind of tracking down like specific employees and stuff like that. Yeah, obviously do not do that. My God. Creative liberties, this is the end of the statement, by the way. Creative liberties and historical inspirations. While we strive for authenticity in everything we do, Assassin's Creed games are a work of fiction inspired by real historical events and figures. From its inception, the series has creative license and incorporated fantasy elements to craft engaging and immersive experiences. The representation of Yasuke in our game is an illustration of this. His unique and mysterious life made him an ideal candidate to tell Assassin's Creed story with, set during feudal Japan as a backdrop. While Yasuke is depicted as a samurai in Assassin's Creed, we acknowledge that this is a matter of debate and discussion. We've woven this carefully into our narrative and with our other lead character, the Japanese shinobi Naoi, who is equally important to the game of our dual protagonists. Okay, honestly, I think this is a good statement. I did notice that a lot of people in the replies are basically saying, hey, I can't believe people are getting this upset, stuff like that. But I did see a lot of people talking about Ghost of Tsushima. Because Ghost of Tsushima is a game made here in America. It's made by Sucker Punch. And Ghost of Tsushima is an absolute masterpiece. The game is not just good, it's historically respectful, it's big, it's incredibly fun, it's got a ton of collectibles. It's now on Steam, and it's selling like crazy on Steam because the game is just so good. I have seen people saying, okay, you can do historical fiction that tells a completely made-up story or, signals to real-life events without completely reforming the source material, without reforming the historical areas. I don't know. I think I'm at a point where I am still excited to review Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'm curious how much they even can change at this point. How much this is just PR. How much this is just spin. I think the game we're going to get is still here. Maybe they'll change some music selections. Maybe they'll be more careful with future trailers. But I think that at this point, the game we're going to get is the game we're going to get. For better and for worse. My problem with Ubisoft games is just the grind, the fluff, the stupid 18 different vibes of pre-order bonus and stuff like that. I have more problems with that. Honestly, personally, I think the game does look good. I think the game does look fun, and I got no problems with it as it currently exists. But if they're listening to feedback from people in Japan, then I'm curious to see what it turns into. Make games better. I'm always down for that. These have just been some off-the-cuff thoughts, though. What do you guys feel about Assassin's Creed Shadows, and how do you feel about this in general? Tell me your thoughts in the comments down below, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to give it a like, subscribe if you haven't already, and please keep dreaming. Thanks so much for watching that video. If you want to see something else, you can always click this link to see what I put up last, or, subscribe and see what's coming up next. Also, I promise that whatever I do, it'll try not to suck.